All right. So you may have noticed that cereal boxes come in a lot of different shapes and sizes. It's not so much that the shape is completely different, but they're different proportionally to one another. Some of them, are tall and thin. Some of them are, you know, yes. There's lots of different ways that they can be made. So the Bravo Breakfast Company is considering changing the size of its box. The staff members need some data to help them make the best choice. So the company currently packages its Morning Math Crunch cereal. Man, you got to hand it to your book. They're cheesy all the way. In a box that is 2 inches deep by 4 inches wide by 8 inches tall, as is pictured at the right. This shape is called a right rectangular prism because the top and the bottom faces are rectangles that are congruent. That means they're the same size and the same shape, and they're parallel to each other. Those are called the bases. So the cardboard sides of the box are called its faces. How much cardboard is needed to create all 6 faces of the box? Well, let's work this out. Be sure to talk about the units. So if we're trying to find the total amount of cardboard, how much cardboard are we going to need for the front of the box? 32 what? Yeah, 32 square inches. How did you get that? Yeah. So for the front, we're going to have 8 times 4. And is the back going to be exactly the same size?
Yes.
So rather than do it as a separate calculation, let's say that we're going to do 2 times that. All right? Now, what about the top over here? How am I going to find that area?
4 times 2.
So this is going to be 4 times 2, so there's going to be 2 of those. Plus, what about this side over here?
2 times 8.
Yeah, there's going to be 2 of those. So this is 64 plus 16 plus 32. See, that makes 80. So I got 112 square inches. By the way, you can write either for square inches, you can write, that's the abbreviation for square inches, or you can write inches like it's being raised to the second power. Either one is fine. Question? No? Okay. So what we have just found is the number of squares that it takes to cover the outside of the object. That's called the surface area. So this is the surface area. It's a measure of how much area the surface of the three-dimensional object has. The volume of a shape is a measure of how much it will hold. Volume is measured in cubic units instead of square units. So let's talk about how many cubes it would take to build a model of this. Well, I went ahead and built a model.
Thank you.
Looks like this, and I have to be really careful because it doesn't stay together particularly well. But it looks like this, right? All right, so there are lots of ways you can think about this, but I think the simplest way to think about it is how many of these cubes do I need to form the bottom?
8.
How many cubes do I need to fill the bottom?
8.
8. And then how many layers of 8 do I have from top to bottom? 8. So that would give me a total of how many? 64. So this would require 64 cubes. So how many cubes that are 1 inch on each edge would you need to model this? Well, the bottom is 4 times 2, and there are 8 of those layers. So that's going to be 64 cubic inches of cereal. Pardon?
That seems like so little. That's like my brain is saying like that's how many pieces of cereal there.
Oh, well, you get more than one
So
piece of
little.
cereal per cubic inch.
It's like a bowl.
The other thing that, and while we're talking about cereal, if you actually look at a cereal package, usually there's a disclaimer on it somewhere that says this package is sold by weight, not volume. Some settling may have occurred during shipping and all this other kind of stuff. Because you ever open a thing of cereal and you're like, it feels like it's half empty. Some of them purposely make boxes that are bigger than it takes to, for the amount of cereal they're going to put in, as a way of making you thinking, oh, I'm getting more cereal. This box is bigger. There's a limit to that, though, because it costs them in the materials for the cardboard. All right. So, the Waste Management Division at Bravo Breakfast is worried that the box for Morning Math Crunch uses too much cardboard. The Waste Management crew wants them to make a box that holds the same amount of cereal but uses less cardboard.
What?
So we want the same volume, but we want less surface area. So what measurement does the company want to keep the same? We want the same volume. But we want less surface area.
Isn't there a formula for volume?
We just did it. We found the area of the base and we multiplied it times how tall it was. So, with your team, that means with the people around you, discuss how to build different rectangular prisms that will still hold 64 cubic inches of cereal. Decide on the one that you believe will use the least cardboard. Then sketch what it would look like, or at the very least give the dimensions and find the surface area. I'm going to stop the recording because I'm going to give you some time to do that.